What is good? We're back. Got another mock draft Monday for your pleasure. We got a Dynasty Superflex TE Premium 1.5 startup mock draft, rocking and rolling. Me and my man Chev over here. What's good, man? How you doing?
You know me, brother. Any day on this side of dirt's a good one.
That's right. That's right. All right. Start off tonight's show with it was a question from our Patreon. Would you rather in a start 10 league or start 9, I believe, would you rather have Justin Jefferson or Rome Odunze and Rashee Rice plus, he had a 27 first on that side too. So
start 9 makes it tough. I'd probably just rather have Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, so either the depth or the non-depth. So basically, he was trying to upgrade his two positions to one. Already has like Neighbors, BTJ. He had a pretty loaded receiving core, and he was trying to go one more.
Yeah,
and a pretty solid team. It was all young, a lot of cornerstones on the team, which cornerstones are like players. You could set the age barometer wherever you want, but like 25 or younger. And so, my thoughts were, because I like Rice and Odunze, that was a tough one. I wouldn't really want to give up the extra picks because they're two of my favorite players right now.
Right.
But I get what you're doing. And worst case scenario, I feel like you could tier down to like a Drake London plus from something else if you needed to get more depth from like a BTJ or something, possibly, maybe.
Right.
If you had to later.
Yeah. No, I mean, giving up a 27 first, giving up Rashee Rice and Rome Odunze, that's about what it would take in a shallow league to get a guy like Justin Jefferson. Like that's the long and short of it. It's not, if it was a deeper league, then I would, start 11, start 12. Then I want, I want Rome. I want the 27 first. I want.
They were adding a flex next year, so it was going to 9, and they had 3 flexes, two wide receiver, 2 running back, 3 flex, super flex.
But still only 9 though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would want. So next year it would go to start 10.
I think it was going to 9.
Going to 9, yeah. Justin Jefferson. And I mean, if you have Rome Odunze and Rashee Rice, like Rashee Rice, I mean, it's getting played out now, but those 3 games, he had 27 targets. He was averaging 21 points a game. If you don't count the 6 snaps that he played in week 4, he had broken out and he was Mahomes' easy button. I don't know if he might have averaged 21 points a game for the whole season. I mean, he averaged 17 the back half of his rookie year. So, put the 2 together. He might get somewhere, between 17 and 21. I mean, he's shown you he's good. And so I don't necessarily think that you need to make that move. Maybe if he's killing it midway through the season, you offer up but then at that point, you're not going to want to get rid of him. But you offer up a first and, something, or a second and Rashee Rice to tier up to the alpha omega tier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, just a good little question from the Patreon to start the show off today about would you rather? And it's not super deep, but it's starting to get a little deeper. But he had a really good built of a team, so I think he was in good shape. Kind of either way he wanted to go, but I like getting the higher end player there. Also, Justin Jefferson out of the cornerstone realm because he's 26.
Oh, got to start. Hey, age cliff.
Right.
Wait, that doesn't work for wide receivers.
That's right. All right, so we just got out some new ADP, and it's kind of following along with what's going on. Jaden Daniels is the 101 right now in Superflex for FFD ADP, so that was kind of fun. He'd been teetering. Josh Allen was still holding him off, but in this draft, we got Jaden Daniels, the 101. We got Josh Allen, the 102. Lamar Jackson, the 103. Joe Burrow, the 104. Chase, 105. Justin Jefferson, 106. Neighbors, 107. CeeDee Lamb, 108. Brock Bowers, 109. Jalen Hurts, 110. Bijan, 111. And Patty Mahomes coming in at 112. And then coming around, you got Gibbs, Genty at the 2-2, McBride at the 2-3, Puka 2-4, Brian Thomas 2-5, St. Brown, Drake London, Justin Herbert at the 208. Herbert staying strong. Nix the 209, Williams the 210, Nico the 211, and then Drake May holding it down at the 212. So heavy quarterback on the front side of this draft, not so much on the back side. So we'll kind of have to see how that plays out. But well, we've talked about it a million times, but I have really been liking the quarterback value on the back side of third round reversal draft. So we'll see how this back half lets that go. But, two of them back here got Hurts and Mahomes at the 10 and the 12. So that's, a pretty good start for not being in the high end of that first round of quarterbacks. And that's sort of the theory behind third round reversal is like you miss out on the high end talent. So you get a kickback in the third instead of going down the round in the third and doubling down on the players who were able to select the big time quarterbacks first, right?
Yeah. I mean, that balances it out much better than giving, a guy who gets the first pick 3 top 36 picks. I mean, you still get them, but you don't get like the top 24, whatever, 24 and 25. You get 30, you'll get 36 instead of 25. And that makes a huge difference, obviously.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I mean, these are all some solid starts here.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where a couple of these go because I really like a couple of these. So I'm not going to say who in case they're watching at the same time.
Appreciate the love, Big Noggin. Ed, what up?
Shut up, Ed.
Henry, what up? He says Mahomes fell to 302 in a real money draft startup that I'm watching on another channel right now. That's absolutely insanity.
I don't understand it. I don't understand the notion behind like the concept that like football is cyclical. Right now, this is the down portion of Mahomes' fantasy production. It just so happened that he kept being awesome in real life. It wasn't injury or anything. And now people are acting like he's just not fucking good.
Yeah, it's crazy. And this is kind of why sometimes it feels like I know I hate saying the same thing over and over and over again. But like Patrick Mahomes for the first time ever is available to be bought, and I'd be buying if I can, right? It's just he's been so good, and the weapon tree has depleted. And last year, like they got Worthy and they had Hollywood. Hollywood gets hurt before the season starts. Worthy's a rookie. Rashi's coming on crushing, and he gets hurt. And then they were leaning on a rookie, which they typically like to kind of slow play. So I think this year is unfortunately, like I think that division's really good. That Broncos defense on paper should be awesome. Should be some great matchups from kind of what's going on for Denver defensively. And then, Bo Nix in year two, and they've kind of added some fun pieces to that offense. So going to be some good battles with the Chargers and Harbaugh year two and Broncos in the Bo Nix experiment year two and loading up on D. We'll see where the Raiders are at there. But man, Mahomes returning to, upper 20s to 30 points a game this year would not shock me at all. And that's, I feel like we've gotten away from Mahomes being so good when all Mahomes did was just continue to win games with the supporting cast that he had. And now you're going to give him a really, really tough trio with Jalen Royals coming in as potentially your fourth, right? And Kelsey's on the back 9 for sure. But man, oh man, I think the Chiefs offense is about to have a huge bounce back and be devastating for people who were hoping that the Chiefs were maybe going in the opposite direction.
I mean, there's a very good chance that, Xavier Worthy, let me just pull up where he is in our ADP right now. There's a very good chance that they have at the end of the year this year, they'll have 2 receivers inside of the top 20, like 30 picks. And Mahomes will be back in the first, 4 or 5 picks. Like Mahomes will be where Burrow is right now.
Yeah, I think we're going to see exactly. This is what happened to Burrow last year, although there was an injury, and then and that kind of put him back. And Burrow in redraft was like one of the best buys. Best ball was one of the best buys, and he came back and just showed you what it was. And I think that's going to kind of be what Mahomes does. I think that's a good point. So we left off at that 3-1, right? So we had Marv picking up at the 3-1. We had Ladd at the 3-2, JSN 3-3, Achan, Barkley, and Hampton, 3 running backs in a row from 3-4 to 3-6. Then we had Garrett Wilson, CJ Stroud, Brees Hall, Tetaroa McMillan at 310, AJ Brown at 311, and Rashi bringing up the rear in the third. No Diddy. Pause. 4-1, Sam Laporta. That seems a bit aggressive. 4-2, Bucky Irving. 4-3, Jonathan Taylor. 4-4, Jordan Love. And 4-5, Rome Odunze. We got some more questions over here. Startup question for you fellas. Is there anything in your draft strategy that would change in a big pot Empire League? Would you be more future focused or look absolute high end rolls?
So that's an interesting question because, I mean, it kind of follows obviously with Empire. You know, you're trying to stack back-to-back wins, but if the philosophy is to go win now, you know, you just kind of, I mean, you factor in age, but if you're in a position to cash in year one, why wouldn't you be in a position to cash in year two?
Right.
Like,
unless you're really, really old, like, you know, maybe if
you're geriatric,
if it's Devontae and Mike Evans and they all fall off a cliff at the end of the year or get some injuries that pile up, like, yeah, maybe I could, you know, I guess you could, you know, see how that might be a possibility. So like, the only thing would be like, and I would never really do that anyway, is like, I might build a little to a little more forward to win now ish, but like, I wouldn't, my strategy doesn't change all that much. Now, what's big money league to people? You know, that's TBD. It's, you know, but, you know, I would say anything 500 or more starts to get into like a bigger money situation. And, you know, as long as I can be competitive for the first couple of years, I'm okay with that. The Empire situation where you're trying to go back to back, I think where I get more aggressive is after I win one. That's when I probably start maybe moving some future picks. That's to not devastate my team, but to just bolster some things up. And
right.
that's probably my move. So I had one that was, I think in Empire leagues, does the league dismantle after you win back-to-backs, or is it just the pot? Like,
no, the pot will go to so I'm actually in one with Dustin that I took over in Orphan. Regrettably so, because I have zero chance at winning the fucking pot this year. But or winning the league in general. But so it just resets. And so you'll go back to like he'll take all, like whoever wins will take all the money. And then like the pot will just keep building and building and building until somebody wins twice in a row.
Yeah, gotcha. That's what I thought.
Yeah. But what I was gonna say was, yeah, you'll skew towards more assets that can help you win now. But if you're doing that from a dynasty perspective, you can, like, just a regular dynasty perspective, you're obviously going to stay true to the build of your team. Whereas with this, like, you might take a Devontae Adams a little bit earlier, like a round or two earlier than you would if you see you've got, like, for example, perfect example right here, Drake London, Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Travion Henderson. Like, if that squad's healthy, right, I feel like you got a chance. I want to see what he does here from a build out perspective. But like, I might take a chance because, I mean, all those receivers are going to produce wide receiver one numbers in your lineup. So maybe you take some shots on guys who are going to add points to your lineup a little bit later, knowing that you're probably going to have to acquire assets to replace them, but you're chasing the chip at that point, so you don't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, and it also depends on me of like who's playing in the league. Is this a league where I know everybody? I might not go quite as heavy to try to win it as fast, because of maybe it folds, right? That'd be my only hesitation. But no, I don't think my philosophy changes a ton. Like, usually I'm not trying to win year one, and then by year two, I'm seeing where I'm at, and hopefully by year three, I've got a really good competitive young team for the next, 5-6 years.
Right.
And that's, and if it gets won in the first 2 years, then hey, is what it is.
Right. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know.
Any chance Genty is a better startup pick over Gibbs, 3 years younger?
No.
No.
I think do you have a crystal ball? I'm not trying to be like, a dick or be
Yeah.
overly sarcastic, but the information that we have to go on is that Gibbs was around 19 or 20 points a game before Montgomery got hurt. And then he averaged 30 points a game from weeks 15 to 18. What outcome, like, what's the range of outcomes where Ashton Genty does that in the next 3 years?
Yeah. I mean,
he had to be an all-time great running back, which he's probably going to be really good.
Right.
But really good doesn't get you that. So I wouldn't take Ashton Genty over Gibbs at this point.
They're similar to me. And I, kind of this is kind of the block that they always go in. It's usually Bijan, Gibbs, Genty, and they're all usually fairly close to each other. We saw Genty kind of back over here at this 12, 11, 10, 9, and he just kind of slowly crept all the way over here. And for me, it's just about that the value is really strong on him. I think he's a really good player. The situation, while not being the best ever, I think both guys in control over there will will their way into this situation being decent. Genty's going to get plenty of run here, and they brought in Gino to kind of help solidify, get the culture moving in a direction where it doesn't feel hopeless. And I like kind of the pieces that they have and where they're going. So I'm not totally against it. And the value for Genty is going to stay super strong. And I think he's right there. I do think he's right there talent wise for me personally. Like, so
it's just, to me, like, it's big braining it if you're going to take Ashton Genty over Gibbs right now.
I mean, sure.
Like 6 months from now, I could look like a complete moron for saying that, it's crazy to take Genty over Gibbs. But right now, based on the information that we have to go on, and Gibbs being in contention to be the RB1 overall, I don't understand the logic behind doing it.
Yeah. All right. Let's pick up here we were at Roma Dunze, I believe, where we left off last. That was 4-5, and then we picked up at 4-6 Travion, 4-7 Travis Hunter, 4-8 Kyler Murray, 4-9 Brock Purdy, 4-10 T Higgins, 4-11 Devonta Smith, 4-12 Baker Mayfield, Chase Brown coming back around on the wrap. Then 5-2 we got Xavier Worthy, Trevor Lawrence, Judkins, Jacobs, McCarthy at 5-6, CMC at 5-7, 5-8 Tyler Warren, 5-9 Cameron Ward, 5-10 George Kittle,
Ward,
5-11 Kyron, 5-12 Harvey, holding down 6-1. We got Olave, Zay Flowers, Caleb Johnson, Kenny 3 Sticks at 604, Egbuka 605, Penix, Goff, and Prescott 606, 67, and 68. And at 609 we have Jordan Addison, then Colston Loveland, Derrick Henry at 611, Cook at 612, and then Terry McLaurin 7-1, and Bryce Young at 7-2. Chuba coming in at 7-3. So what are we thinking about some builds here? You had mentioned nighttime here, so he got Penix in the 6th, took an older running back and McCaffrey, which if it hits, it's going to be awesome. If it swings and misses because of some injury, huge bummer.
I mean, if CMC plays 15 games, he's going to be RB1 or RB2. Based on the patterns. And I mean, I don't think CMC looked like he lost a step of any sort last year. I think that he joined a team in disarray that was trying to figure out how to get, how to, like, the play calls and scheming him in a new environment, because it changes every single year. That offensive line was piss poor. So I like what he's doing here. I absolutely love what he's doing here, to be honest with you, because he could pair Travion with Ramondre in the 13th or 14th. Oh man. Oh yeah. I can tell you right now, that's going to be my favorite build. Without question. He won the draft. We can shut this down right now.
He's just stroking you with the Jameson.
Facts, bro. Look, if you ever want to ask a question in Discord, just tag me. I'll answer whatever, because I like what you did today. But Yeah, I like that build. I think here's the thing. And I think you and I and Corey, Big Co, whenever he's spoken about it, the quarterbacks in this range, one of these guys between JJ, Penix, Goff, Dak, Bryce Young, and Justin Fields, one of those guys is going to finish as a top 6 quarterback. I mean,
Most
Goff did it
likely.
last year.
Mm-hmm.
Prescott did it the year before.
Right.
Bryce was 20.
Fields has
almost
been
21 points.
in a fantasy scoring realm up in that range at times.
When he plays, he was QB 10 before they pulled him last year. And that was with the training wheels completely locked onto the offense and him just, hey, don't lose us the game. And when they finally opened it up, it was like, oh, you're a decent quarterback. Okay. You just don't really throw with anticipation and you're not super accurate. Okay. But you're 230 pounds, you run 4.3. Cool. Right. But the range of quarterbacks that just went off the board here, to me, that value is insane. Because I mean, we're both really bullish on Michael Penix. Goff is really good, even though he has question marks. Now more question marks than he's had in the last 3 years. Dak has his play caller and a new weapon in George Pickens. And that we don't trust any of those running backs. Like one of them's going to return value, but we don't know which one. And they're going to throw it 550 times at least. Yeah. So I was stuck on that. We can get back to the draft. I really think that the quarterbacks in this range give you basically a free quarterback 60 some odd, 70 some odd picks into the draft.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're into this thing. There's Chance De Leon has 4 quarterbacks through 5 rounds here. And
I thought he was autoed. Oh, that's crazy.
I'm assuming, that's a thought of, hey, this back half was light on quarterback, so he came in here and scooped a couple up. Whether you agree with who he scooped, I love the Jordan Love 4.4. I think that's good value. I like Kyler, up there as well. And then he came back and grabbed Ward, which, maybe you would rather have Dak or Penix or Goff or Prescott, but whatever. So, thoughts on, kind of hoarding positions and quarterback and Superflex, for maybe some of these guys in the back half that are going to come out here and he's, one guy got Sam Darnold. So everybody's closing in on 2 here.
Right.
What do you have a stance on anything like that, of like saying, hey,
it can work, but it can also blow up in your face.
Right.
Because you're going to, if your team hits and you have holes, you're going to go to sell one of those quarterbacks and somebody's gonna be like, nah, man, I'm good. My quarterback 2 is giving me 16 points a week.
Right.
What's up, Chris?
What up, Chris?
But I think that it can work, but you have to time the market perfectly. And people say like the hardest thing to do is trade for a quarterback in Superflex. But when people see that you have 5 on your roster, that's very clear. Unless there's like an absolute need where somebody's like, I'm not going to win the championship if I don't have a second quarterback. Like you might just be stuck with these guys on your roster, scoring points on your bench week in and week out when you could have gotten, I don't know. Let's see here. You could have gotten Travion Henderson. You could have got Trav. You could have got T. Higgins. You could have got Devonta Smith. You could have got guys that could contribute in your lineup. Now I understand that you'll control the market from a quarterback perspective, but if your team sucks, maybe you just want your team to suck and say, oh, I have a bunch of quarterbacks. I have a lot of value.
Yeah. I think it can put you in a bit of a precarious situation. I think I would rather do it if it's maybe hanging around later rather than early, like if or mid-round to later quarterbacks, maybe I could grab a couple. And because basically I don't like the value on the board, I feel like the best value I could take, even though I'm flush at quarterback, that the quarterback could help me get a deal done down the line that could improve value on something, then I think I'm more down with it. I don't think I want to do it, in the top 5-6 rounds.
Correct.
You know, I could see 3 maybe if it goes, if it just is, it hits right and you're like, oh God, man, this really fell just the perfect way, and I can't not take this guy because of, you know, whatever. Like if you're like, I love, I got to take him at 4, but then I'm probably not taking Cam Ward there, right?
Well, that's exactly my point, is that
Right.
you just drafted someone that's not going to contribute if all goes well on your team. It's just not. He's, if everybody's healthy, Cam Ward's not seeing your lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you said, you got to play the market right. You got to hope the league isn't putting trade embargo on you of being like, man, we're devaluing his quarterbacks because he has, you know, a decent amount. Now you catch the right guy at the right time, and you have an active league that understands values and whatnot, and they need it. And you know, maybe you nailed it. But you know, be interesting if this was a real league to look back to say, did he get market value for where he ended up drafting him and not whomever else he could have taken there? So.
Right.
Interesting conversation of hoarding, but I'm not sure that I.
Well, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Like you touched on a point earlier where it's like, hey, I might wait until a little bit later and take some shots on guys. Like if you wanted to draft 4 quarterbacks and your 4th quarterback was going to be Matthew Stafford, like in this range where Stafford just went right here, if that was your pick, and then in the 4th, in the 5th round here, you took Tyler Warren or excuse me, it's going the other way. My bad. If you took Kittle, if you took Kyron Williams, if you took Olave or Flowers or anybody in this little cohort right here that could actually help your team, and then you went and got Stafford, like you've got a guy that you could. I mean, Stafford with those weapons, I feel like he's gonna. I mean, around like 6 picks later, Geno Smith goes.
Mm-hmm.
So you could hoard in that way and still build out a good lineup as where you just burnt a pick on Cam Ward.
Mm-hmm.
And Cam Ward could be awesome, but then now you're trying to figure out if like who to sell.
Right. And I think he's doing a good job of building this team. I like the players. Then he came back with 4 straight receivers. So he's got Burrow, Nix, Brees Hall, Jordan Love, Ward, and then he's got Walker. So 4 quarterbacks and 2 running backs through 6. And then he came straight blue boxes, wide receivers. So he went DJ Moore, Ayuk, Reed, Shakir. Now, some people are down on DJ Moore. Brandon Ayuk's a little banged up. Jaden Reed, down in the depressed market a little bit, but I feel like he bought all guys that, could really smash at the price that you bought them at there. And then Shakir is, I think a rock solid pick at 10, right? I think it's not going to kill you and could win you some weeks.
PPR, like he's going to catch 75 passes. He just doesn't catch touchdowns. And that's what limits him. But in a full PPR, that's top 36.
Yeah, I mean, just a solid player there. So, I again, I don't hate it. You could hit it right if Cam's making flashy plays and crushing it. I mean, maybe he's worth. Maybe you could get, Travion Henderson plus a shitty quarterback, right?
It's just I don't like to play that game. Or if I'm going to play that game,
that's how you like to. Yeah, it's again, if the market goes the right way. It could be awesome, but there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts and coconuts,
Right. Well, like somebody's going to look at your roster and then immediately be like, okay, cool. Well, you have 5 quarterbacks, which means you have a hole somewhere in your lineup. Yeah, I'm not going to give you market value for one of these guys. I'm not going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to hold the league hostage. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like I said, later, like this range where Geno Smith and Matthew Stafford go, you pick up a couple quarterbacks. Yeah. Pick guys in the first 60 picks that can help your team.
Yeah, I'm mostly with you there. Like I said, if they're hanging mid round and later, like I might snag a Fields there, even if he, if I needed him and he was hanging in the 8th, I'm like, he could be just slaughtering points, and somebody's like, oh man, I need it. I'm buying in. So
exactly.
All right. Easy B says 12-man dynasty team offered Jalen Hurts for Mahomes and Brian Robinson. Thoughts? My mindset is Hurts is 3 years younger, also maybe beneficial, just for the cost of Brian Robinson. What you think?
I I'd be on the I'd want Hurts. It's like you're guaranteed double-digit rushing touchdowns, and they only threw the ball 360 times last year. Saquon had 482 touches. I just don't think that. I mean, I think that they're going to be run heavy still. The tush push isn't banned, and nobody's ever rushed for 1,500 yards after running for 2,000 before. I think. Well, excuse me. I think it happened maybe one time. The year after, the immediate year after. I know Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards. He ran for 1,900 last year. But what I'm saying is like the year after. So some regression is coming, and I think they could throw the ball a little bit more. So while Jalen Hurts is at 110, he could be back in that 1-2, 1-3, 1-4. He could be back in that range too. And you have a little bit more value insulation because he's going to give you double-digit rushing touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it.
So 6 point makes it closer, but 4 point, it's Jalen Hurts, and it's not
I think 6 points. I might even take Mahomes.
Yeah, just because boom potential. Again, Mahomes could nuke and throw for 4,040. He could throw for 4,500. He could do exactly what Baker Mayfield just did. Acting like that is out of the range of outcomes is insane to me.
Yeah, I agree. Liam asks, are you giving up Waddle? Oh, I do not have to ask this question for Chev over here. You giving up Waddle and Burden for Tet? So actually, I feel like that might be Waddle and Burden or Tet.
Man, if it was just I looked at it immediately and I thought it was Waddle for Burden and Tet, and I was like, why is this even a question? Yeah. But it's Waddle and Burden for Tet.
So in this particular draft, we got 7-8 Waddle, and we got 8-8 Burden. So a 7 and an 8 to trade up into the third. That's probably pretty good money right there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you gotta do it, man. I mean, Tet's locked for 130 targets. Like, unless something, in my opinion, unless something goes horribly wrong, Tet's locked for 130 targets. We've only seen Jalen Waddle be good with immense efficiency or volume. If it's just regular on either front, he's like wide receiver 27. That's my issue. Like we just do regular numbers. Like his 2022 season was awesome. He averaged 18 yards a catch. We come back in 2023, we're like, yeah, do more of that. And it's like, no. I'm just going to be about 14 yards a catch and only catch like 4 touchdowns. And then last year, I still don't really understand last year. I think I understand it, but I'm trying to make sense of it because you have basically $160 million tied up into your wide receiver room.
Yeah. To me, he just seemed like Waddle. That is, seemed like it just always nicked enough to be not out, but playing through something and not quite 100% right. And I feel like the Dolphins offense was struggling to get those explosives. And when those explosives are happening, Waddle and Hill are a lethal combo. And I think Waddle has wide receiver 1 upside. Just got to be healthy, and they got to make some tweaks to this offense. They got to do some things a little differently.
Waddle and DK Metcalf are 2 guys that I'm just like, all right, the idea of you is much cooler than what I'm actually going to get in my lineup.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion. That is not shared by Casey in any way, shape, or form.
No, I like Waddle.
Yeah,
I know. I think Waddle's got a real good chance to blow back this year and be real solid. We've got some good years of Waddle, and we've got some bad years of Waddle. So we need to figure out which one it is. And I think if it's healthy Waddle, it's probably more good than bad. So
it would be like, when is he healthy though? Like the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, but we also need to we can play that. Like Keenan Allen had this stretch, right, where it was just Keenan can't ever be. Players go through it here and there, and then they get right. Some of them.
But he wasn't. But Keenan, it was like lacerated kidney and torn ACL. Waddle's just
he had a bunch of
my
soft
ankle
tissues.
hurts real good.
He had a bunch of soft tissues in there.
I can't run as fast as I normally could. So don't give me the ball as much.
Yeah. Well, he's always down at some point, and then he comes back.
maybe his body doesn't. Maybe him and Mike Williams need to just go see like a priest or something, and like or a hypnotist. I don't like their bodies just don't like football.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gotta go Tet just because he's locked for 130 targets. And I mean Bryce Young. I was reading this article on Fantasy Points Data before the show, and they were talking about how Bryce Young's accuracy rate was still one of the highest. Like on target pass rate was one of the 6 highest in the league, in spite of him being like second or third in drop rate from his wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Tet solves a lot of those problems. We can move Xavier Legette to like the short area gadget guy, get Jalen Coker working in the slot, or just moving him around because he can play outside. I don't know where the notion is he can't play outside. He did it after Adam Thielen came back, just so everybody knows. Big Jalen Coker got here, if you didn't know. So yeah, I would do that. I wouldn't feel great about it, but I would do that.
Yeah, I might even try to squeeze a third back, but
yeah.
All right. I'm not 100% sure where exactly we left off. I think we were at Bryce Young, Chuba, and then here came DK at 7-4, Chuba at 7-3. We had Pickens at 7-6, Hawk at 7-8, George Pickens at 7-5, Hawk at 7-6, Jameson 7-7, Waddle 7-8, DJ Moore, Justin Fields, Joe Mixon, Jerry Jeudy, and then Golden starting off 801. Tua 802, Pearsall and Ayuk back-to-back 8-3, 8-4, Trey Harris 8-5, Alvin Kamara 8-6, Dart Burden 8-8, Sammy D 8-9, Jaden Higgins 8-10, Tyreek 8-11, and Mike Evans coming in at the 8-12. And then to start your 9th round, we had Andrews, Sutton, Godwin at 903. Then we had Milrow, Joku, Downs, Devontae, Swift 9-8, Jaden Reed 9-9, Kincaid 9-10, Monty, David Montgomery at 9-11, and Matthew Stafford coming in at 9-12. So our guy Chauncey here, he took another quarterback at 12-4, and he took his big swing on Anthony Richardson there, super late on Richardson.
He's going to take Daniel Jones in like the 14th probably.
And so they said Richardson's back. He's going to get through training camp. So we'll see. Is he back? We don't know. We got Matt over here, who is Wild West slinging it. He's got one quarterback through 13.
And so this is the guy that's going to take Daniel Jones.
Possibly. But, listen. If you get into the situation where, I mean, he had chances to take some other quarterbacks here, right? I mean, he couldn't have taken Sam Darnold, but he could have taken Geno Smith at any point or Matthew Stafford, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, and then like if I'm in his shoes, I'd probably take Shuck over Knoll at the 12-11 there, just so I have a piece to give back to a quarterback trade where I'm not having to really get squeezed out here. Now, in another scenario, he's got a pretty good team all throughout, a lot of good players. He could just eat it for a year and get a decent draft pick or trade away his first and some other things to go get himself a quarterback and be in okay position. You're just working out of a deficit for, the start of this league.
Yeah, I mean, that team could produce enough points to kick you out of contention for like the 1 through 1-3. So, you're in the middle of the first round, so you're probably missing out on, the Nussmeyers, the Mateers, like all those guys that are going to come out next year. That everybody, Drew Aller, like you're going to miss out on whoever those top 5 to 10 picks are. So that's the only issue. It's like now you got to go, you could go with the any quarterback on a 53 type of deal and just be, just humping on the waiver wire all year to get you a Superflex starter. There's people that subscribe to that theory. I don't like do that, but
generally, if 16 rounds is not going to be your draft, right? You're going to draft 25, 28 if it's not FFPC, And so there shouldn't really be any quarterbacks on the waiver wire. So that notion is fucking nonsense. Like if you're playing in the Superflex league where there's any startable quarterbacks out there, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So I think the math is like 76 quarterbacks started a game last year. Oh, it took Russ. Look at that.
I mean, I get it. I get it. You know.
Yeah. I just just math.
How many do you want to start out of those 76? Probably not a lot.
Man, I'm gonna rock out with Tommy DeVito. What are you talking about?
Right. I mean, getting Russ in the 14th. Hey, that's fine. You can get Rodgers here too. Somebody just sniped it for Daniel Jones. So he can come back here, grab Rodgers. Now again, we're only drafting 16 because of time restraints, right? Because it doesn't take, so it doesn't take all night to draft these teams. So there should be, a large bench accrued after this as well. So Matt finishes it up here. He's got one more pick after this, but he goes Wilson Rodgers. So he's playing in a bit of an older trajectory there. But between those two guys, he probably can get a starter out of them, right? I think Rodgers is probably going to be plenty starter. And then if the rest of his lineup can help bolster up some points, it'll probably be all right. Again, in a deficit, maybe moving forward here to figure out his 2-3 quarterbacks, but interesting build there.
Yeah, I like it.
Let's see here. I mean, and through the actual build there is Bijan, Genty, Ladd, Devonta Smith, Worthy, Henry, Bryce Young is his number one quarterback. Then Tyreek and Sutton, Pacheco, Jonnu, so light the tight end position as well. Noel and Tillman. So pretty fun lineup. He's got some hammers in there, and he's got the two cornerstone running backs holding it down with Bijan and Genty. So you like that? Some decent mix of youth and old throughout that roster. So we'll have a fun time there. See what's up.
Yeah, it's not gonna be horrible, but it's just if anything happens, like your quarterback room's on a house made on stilts.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me real nervous.
Built on sand.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at some other teams here. We got Yonka Tonk. He's got Lamar and Caleb. Then he went Tet, JT, Kittle, Caleb, Fields. That's his first 7. That's a fun start. Pretty solid. He's got covered a lot of his bases. Then he's coming in here with Pearsall, Kincaid, Coleman, Pitts, Mooney, Warren, Shaheed, Bateman, and Brooks. So I like some back half picks. I like the Mooney. I don't mind the Warren. I like the Shaheed, the Bateman. We've been doing a lot of best ball drafts over on the Patreon. Bateman makes me feel a little better in best ball than here. Same with Shaheed, but I think I feel better about starting Shaheed week to week than Bateman. But Bateman, solid and improving. Had some big weeks last year. And then the Brooks picks, just a stab in the dark. Hey, gonna have to wait a year, but fun. I don't mind the Kincaid pick in the 9th, Pitts in 11. Probably could have picked somebody else there instead of having 3 tight ends, but Pitts comes on, could be awesome.
If Pitts ever finds the Monstars that stole his fucking powers, we're gonna have some fun, boys.
Yeah,
we have some real fun.
What is it with Pitts? Is it an effort thing? I don't know.
We saw some things from Raheem Morris talking about him taking a step forward as a complete tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like that's just such a gross mismanagement of what he should be good at, what you saw him be good at like his rookie year. Now, I don't know if the knee injury really just kind of screwed him and he lost something that he's just never gotten back. I mean, that does happen from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we take it for granted, the fact that
so many people just bounce back.
Just bounce back and be 100% free and clear in your mind, because that's the biggest part that you have to get over is like, hey, I'm normal again. Like, I could do normal stuff. But
right.
I think that if either of those swings, if Kincaid gets back to like his more frequent targets per route run from his rookie year, or Kyle Pitts is just a part of the offense, they got Charlie Warner out there blocking his shit. Like, those could be fun. Those are fun, especially in a tight end premium. I mean, like, just really, really fun for me. Personally, I would have taken Tucker Kraft over Dalton Kincaid, but
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's your guy. You like him.
Yeah.
Let's look at some values through this draft here.
Wandale in the last round.
Ooh, Mondell at 16. I like that. Love that last pick of Royals for
Yes,
Timmy
sir.
TX there. Let's see, Hollywood at 16. I like that. Shaheed, I mean Mason Taylor and Brenton Strange to anchor down your tight end positions. Could be worse for dart throwing there. The nighttime went with Arroyo, JT Sanders as some dart throws at the end. I don't mind that. We need. Where's Pat? 1205. So Hoodie here, he's got Jamar Chase. He went Herbert, Stroud, Adunze, Warren, Ibuka, Waddle, Harris, Swift, E.T., Ingram, Freiermuth, Wright, Pat Bryant, Theo. So this to me is year one, probably not going to win a whole lot of games, right? I like a lot of the players on the team, but like to have all of those pieces click week over week to give you the points that you need, not great, but value wise from what you have on this team, you could be pretty fluid with it. So I don't mind that build at all. You're gonna have to figure some things out. And Ibuka will go into a different role. Maybe Waddle gets back to form. Trey Harris will find, and Devonta Smith and Travis Etienne, DeAndre Swift and Etienne, two guys that are just lottery tickets, man. Both of those guys could just return crazy value on a team that's maybe struggling this year, and he sells those guys for premium picks or picks plus players, right?
Let's fucking go. I'm so glad. I'm so happy that you said that, because that's the part where it gets spooky for me. Is like so that DeAndre Swift, Travis Etienne, Evan Ingram, that little block right there, like your team drastically changes after 2025, depending on the outlooks of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like if DeAndre Swift and Travis Etienne Travis Etienne doesn't play and earn a significant contract, he's just basically burning a hole on your bench as an RB3. And then Evan Ingram's old, so we don't really know. It could be awesome if he's healthy. Should be awesome if he's healthy.
But no, he's not that old. He's only 30, right?
He's 31.
Yeah, that's tight end. He's 27.
Oh, he is 30. I thought he was 31. But either way, like he's hurt. He gets hurt a lot. That gives me. He has a role, and it's supposed to be a really good offense.
Yeah, I love Evan Ingram's probably one of my favorite picks. Redraft right now for tight ends, and if I need one later, like I actually really like pairing Ingram with Warren there, because that lets me have time to grow into Warren, and I think Ingram can give me immediate production. Then I can decide what I want to do, where his contract goes, what he does. He makes it through the season, and looks good. Maybe he earns some more money there. Evan Ingram should have a decent amount of value in tight end premium as far as kind of moving forward. And then he went with Freiermuth, who easily could have, that's another lottery ticket. So like you said, a lot of good lotto tickets here from 9 to 1205 to do some decent fun stuff with. And then he's got some fun backups with Algier and Wright, Pat Bryant as a rookie. And then he's got some rookies up here. So I don't mind the build at all. It's not going to be a year one producer, but he's got options to move around and build this thing out with some solid value that should, increase somewhat, I think.
Yeah, it's either like, those picks in that range, if they hit, they increase the value of your team exponentially. If they miss, it's not going to kill you, but I think that team could be real good year one. Just, if what you say about Jalen Waddle comes, if I'm completely wrong, and what you say about Jalen Waddle's true, then that team could be a little bit better than we think.
Yeah, but they're not going to. You just with Rome and Ibuka and Trey, like you're just not going to put together enough weeks every week, that are going to be consistent. I don't think.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm saying like maybe possibly potentially.
Yeah, Killer PF said he likes his future build there. So he's got Neighbors in St. Brown, Hampton Hunter, McCarthy, Goff, Dart, Hawk, Downs, Sharbs, Kyle Williams, and then he went with a bunch of twos here running back wise to help shoulder some load. But if you're going and you're going a little bit more productive struggle, you don't want to spend a lot on the running backs necessarily unless the value's there. And what he does here is Najee. Everyone hates Najee, so I'm sure people are going to think that's a bad example, but Mason, Ray Davis, and Dobbins all could have value to other teams throughout here, or himself if things break right for him. McCarthy could be, better next year. Dart is obviously, no pun intended, a dart throw. Downs, if the quarterback play can get figured out, we think he's a really, really solid player. And then Kyle Williams could be a lottery ticket, got Wandell down there. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Obviously we don't get to see the back ends of these get built out, and that's important to see how the rest of that bench would kind of materialize. But let's look at the AC groove. We got something, Chev?
Before we go on, I just want to know what your opinion is about what the outlook is for Jordan Mason going into this year.
I think, we have a rookie quarterback over there who I'm not sure they know exactly what they have. How could they?
Right.
So I think they've come in and they went and intentionally got somebody who does something completely different than Aaron Jones. And they can lean on the run game a little more throughout. So maybe, just maybe, at least for the first few games, if we can lean on Mason and Aaron Jones here a little bit more than maybe we have seen the KOC offenses of the last year or two, I think Mason gives them just a different identity as far as running the football, right? So I think Mason was a very intentional move by them. Just
paid him.
And if they need to lean on the run game a little bit more to help slow play McCarthy a little bit, to not have stupid mistakes and silly things in the beginning of the season, I think they really have an option here there.
Okay, cool. I think this is going to be a really good offense, and so has looked really old. Didn't he average like 4.7 yards a carry and handle like 310 touches last year?
Yeah, I mean, I slightly disagree with that. I thought Aaron Jones looked decent. He just doesn't stay healthy necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, he stayed healthy last year.
Pretty healthy, yeah.
I killer potato fish. We're gonna have to see your ball knower card because we disagree.
He said he still thinks he looks good. I mean, Aaron Jones is old.
He is old, bro. Right. What happened was, let me tell you what happened, Casey. I won't derail us. He saw that video of Aaron Jones taking that sombrero off. You saw where his hairline was.
Goes way
and
back.
That's what made him think that Aaron Jones looked old. That's always been there, Chief. All right, the bandanas are covering it up. Right?
Yeah.
The bandanas are covering it up. Hey, that's still the guy that's going to give you 1,400 yards from scrimmage if he's healthy, though. But I understand now. Why you said he looked old.
Yeah. All right. Any other team you want to talk about here before we wrap this one up? We're going to be
we want to talk about.
Which one? You want to go back to nighttime?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Love everything that he did in this draft. Well, excuse me. I love most of the things that he did in this draft. He took Devontae Adams in the 9th. Like, that's never happened in a startup. Like, he's going late 7th now. In a couple of startups I've done, he's never there in the 8th round. And I think that, like, he could approximate what Cooper Kupp gave you from weeks 8 to 12 last year when he was finally healthy. Geno Smith, like the quarterback struggle might be a little real. I do appreciate the shot on Shedeur Sanders. You paired Christian McCaffrey with Isaac Guerrero, so if something happens, you're covered. Taking the shots on JT Sanders and Elijah Arroyo, I mean, that's just chef's kiss. And then Hollywood Brown in the last round.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fantastic build.
We've got Devontae at 901, up 12 spots from last ADP. But probably closer in the mid 8s a lot of times. Let's see where Sanders typically is here. 14. So you might have been able to wait a little more on Sanders there. It'd be the only thing that I would say is maybe where you got Arroyo, you might have been able to get Sanders, get your guy though. But
if you're gonna do the young quarterback thing,
yeah.
Like unless you just keyed up about Shador.
Hey, if that's your guy, get your guy. I think you probably could have waited there. My only biggest drawback of this team is that I love both of the tight ends so much. Arroyo is my favorite non-big time tight end, not named Loveland and Warren in this draft. And JT Sanders was my guy last year. And I think JT had a nice little stretch run, had the neck injury. I think JT Sanders should have a nice role in this offense moving forward. I think the Panthers might be one of the cheapest offenses to be able to invest in that should take a big step forward, right?
Yes.
But you just from the way your team's built, I just want a little like I would like give me Jake Ferguson on this team, right? You know, as far as if we're going late round tight ends, just somebody who could catch a little volume and isn't going to be a liability shouldn't be a liability, I should say.
Yeah, I mean,
in the lineup
for that build specifically, that block of tight ends that we just discussed, the two guys that Hoodie took, Evan Ingram and Pat Freiermuth, great picks there. Jake Ferguson, like you alluded to, you could go with Kelsey as a 1-year rental, just in that spot for Brian Robinson right there. I mean, I think you've got the running back deal kind of figured out. For me, in a tight end premium, I'm going to take a shot. Instead of taking Brian Robinson, who you hope is going to return RB2 numbers, you take the upside swings on Jake Ferguson, one of the most targeted players, the most targeted tight end in the red zone, end zone targets in 2023. Pat Freiermuth scored a career high in touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers throws touchdowns to the tight end. Water is wet. And then Evan Ingram, if he's healthy, he's got a roll. That just fits that team a little bit better. You could still take those shots on JT Sanders and Elijah Arroyo.
Yeah. Yeah. And somebody, maybe it's I Am the Real KG or Primetime KG. You know, he said quarterbacks are a little rough. They are. You're not robust quarterback, and it's nobody super duper sexy. We both like Penix, and I think Gino's good enough as a 2 to get it done for you if everything else is going well. So, you know, and Shador being your 3rd, I'd prefer Shador to be my 4th, but is what it is. So, all right, let's wrap this one up. We are doing, like I said, we will be starting a redraft channel here. But for now, it's going to be on this channel. We're going to ramp up for like a month or so. So I think maybe the next mock that we do live will be a redraft mock. We're still going to do plenty of dynasty mocks, but we're going to be throwing redraft mocks in there. And we got best ball shows coming your way in the next week or two on the main channel. We're doing them on the Patreon right now, figuring it out. So you guys don't have to watch that. And having a good time doing it. So we're excited to be doing some more streaming. Me and Chev will be doing news and notes tomorrow live right back on the channel here. That is going to be a show that we continue to do live. I might be a week or 2 gap in between because we're in this weird dead period of NFL stuff, right? But we had good feedback. We appreciate you guys on that show, and we will be sure to bring that show as many weeks as we can that it makes sense. Probably be on a Tuesday or a Wednesday live following a mock the previous day, right? So I think there's we had a good time doing that, and we're working on formulating how we're going to do an NFL show where we talk a bit more just football forward and tie some dynasty stuff to it a little bit here and there. So that'll be in season as well, and we'll be kind of ramping up towards that. So we got a lot of good stuff coming your way. Chev, anything else?
No, man, we just are super excited about everything we got going on right now. I mean, we would love to bring you content all throughout June that's super meaningful. But it's fucking June. And so there's not a lot going on. These dudes are going out on boats and doing pink cocaine salt or whatever it is. So like it's their downtime right now. We'll be back, and we'll be back with a vengeance. And also please tap into the redraft mocks. Really appreciate it. Really looking forward to seeing how we grow the new channel.
All right, boys, we'll see you tomorrow. Come check us out. Peace.